better friendship, and will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, PhD namesake. Friends, I like to invite Rotary information right now. If you have Rotary information, I would request that you precisely give Rotary information. Please, you're welcome to share your Rotary information with us today. Okay, as you prepare to give Rotary information, I would like to welcome you, CP Hamza Sekamate, all the way from the Rotary Club of Kajansi. If you can, on behalf and for our DGEP Starema, please weigh in with the Rotary information. You have 2 minutes to do this, please.
Thank you very much, President. And of course, good morning, fellow Rotarians, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all well, and I hope you had a great night. I was tasked this morning by DGE Peace Tarema to represent the prospective Rotary camping. And as the Vice Chair of this prospective fellowship, my role as guided by DGE is to let you know that we are having the second edition of the camping in Mukono, Katosi, in the beach called Oguzulu. And the reason why we camp is to raise funds for supporting the needy people in terms of cardiovascular conditions or diseases. Last year we held our very first edition, and we were able to raise money, and we were able to purchase an ECG machine or equipment that we donated to the Heart Institute. And this year we are continuing to do the same. And we are going to be camping from the 8th throughout the 9th at a fee of 170,000 shillings. And we have already registered over 200 plus Rotarians, friends and guests are already on the list to Oguzulu. They're actually in the bus already by default because of the registration. And the preparations are in high spirits, they're in high gear. And we are set to go and camp. There's going to be lots of activities and fun. It might be difficult for me to break them down right now, but I want to request that you all join us so that you're able to share the fun that is going to be there. And we pray that we have over 100% members of RSC Daybreak join this great event or activity. The chair is Irene Luwesi, CMP Sanji. You can contact her directly in case you need to make any kind of heartfelt contribution. I want to stop here, President, and thank you very much for giving this fellowship an opportunity to showcase or to talk about what is happening. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, CP Sekamate, for ably representing DGE Peace Tarema. And indeed, I know that there will be fun. When I see one of the photos on the screen of my Dean of Ages, Kai Tarama, I am 100% guaranteed that there will be fun. So we'll definitely join you and have fun, but not just have fun, be able to cause transformation or change in the area of cardiovascular surgeries. So friends, in the interest of time, I'm going to beg and humbly request and plead that if you have any other Rotary information, it is a humble request that you do pass this through our chat section, and we will certainly address ourselves to it and take the due course of action that is required. But allow me to pass a reminder to you, my comrades, the board members of Rotary Club of Kampala Daybreak. The day is today. The time is 8 p.m. Where we'll be having a joint board meeting with our partners, the Rotary Club of Ajax, in Canada. So please have your dinner early and spare enough time for that particular meeting. Friends, like I said at the commencement of our fellowship today, that we are so glad and overjoyed to join the rest of the Rotary fraternity to start off the month of community economic empowerment. And at daybreak, we always like to share a tip in line with the theme of the month. And I want to draw your attention today. Did you know that according to the UN, 9% of the world's population, and to be precise, that is 700 million people, majority of whom are in sub-Saharan Africa, this is where Uganda lies, live below 7,000 shillings a day. This is a call that we can do more by supporting strong community development, initiatives and entrepreneurs, so that we can be able to improve the conditions of our people. Again, this morning we are overjoyed to have a guest speaker. And because wherever there is a Yedida, there is a Nyakato. Allow me, friends, to invite you, Nyakato, to unleash our guest speaker this morning.
Thank you so much, CMP Frederick, for the opportunity. Good morning, Rotarians, Rotaractors, and guests on call. Like my CMP has said, Kampala Daybreak joins the rest of the Rotary fraternity to celebrate the month of community economic empowerment. This daybreak, we are privileged to have amidst us a seasoned, a zealous, has economically impacted many people. And we are talking about the co-founder of Innovative Village, Uganda Launchpad for leading innovators and entrepreneurs. He works with mission-oriented entrepreneurs to ensure the smart application of technology in solving our solving out biggest community and industry challenges. In under 4 years, certainly following his zeal and character of a go-getter, the Innovation Village has become a national platform with innovation space in 5 locations across the country, including Motive, East Africa's largest market space. And Rotarians, Rotaractors, and guests on call, this is none other than CK Japheth, whose mission is to create 500,000 jobs, harnessing the transformation role of innovation and entrepreneurship. Kindly join me to welcome CK, and not for Calvin Klein, but Chico Japheth Kawanguzi. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you that guy. Thank you so much. Over to you, CMP.
Thank you very much, Yedid Nyakato. CK, what a joy it is to have you at daybreak. Please, I hand over this audience to you.
Thank you very much, Frederick and Nyakato, for the introduction and for having me, join you this very early morning to the conversation that we're so passionate about, the work that we do at Innovation Village to realize what we all know, that Uganda is the most entrepreneurial country in the world. Thank you for the introduction. I realized CK is not for Calvin Klein. It's just the name that I use when I'm working with our entrepreneurs. But Kawanguzi, and I'm really excited, to join you this morning, because for me, Rotary is my first home, and I congratulate all of you in here who are passionate about service above self, because that's the only way, that's the only real way we can build our communities and support our young people. And I say Rotary is my first home and love because, I was that young person who had dreams and aspirations. And in Rotary, I managed to get my first job with Umeme through a friend who introduced me in Rotary. I managed to get mentors who have shaped my thinking and continue to support me as we journey along. And it's been a big differentiator for me in my journey, and it continues to be. I know we don't have enough time, so I'd just like to step into it to really share questions about how do we, sustainably support our young people. And you've seen that the tip from the chair about Sub-Saharan Africa and young people, and we've had all of these statistics all over the place about how Uganda is the youngest country in the world. About the average Ugandan is a 15-year-old girl. About over 50% of the population being under the age of 30. And if we don't find sustainable ways to tap into their potential and direct it, then we are only digging our own graves. And I'm happy again to come back here. I remember the last time I was here. It's not my first time to to share with you. I was a little younger. My beard has now grayed out of the hassles of entrepreneurship. I was a little, big dreams, but we continue to build. And, so much has happened since I was last year, and I'm really keen to get in to explore how we can use Rotary as the vehicle it is to sustainably support young people. So in reflecting on how do we sustainably support young people, I just picked this up to explore and say, what is the face of youth empowerment in our country today? And I know a number of you could have been following what's happening at the Dubai Expo. And a young entrepreneur that I admire, Maxima Cementa, with Livara, passionately put out her plea about the experience she's had, at the pavilion, Uganda's pavilion. And, she was explaining about all the pain that she met with her excitement of going out there to Dubai to represent her country. She gave examples of L'Oreal that was sponsored by France. It's already a global behemoth, big company, but it was sponsored by the government of France to go to Dubai to showcase. She gave examples of, Egypt, and said she had no words for Egypt. She wanted to just become Egyptian, Gave multiple examples of other countries, of our own Ugandans who are exhibiting other spaces out there. And I think for me, this is just a single case of an entrepreneur who has come up with an idea and is so passionate to give back to country, so passionate to give back to the world, is so passionate to represent Uganda. So the question becomes, how do we, create an environment that can, tap and unlock Maxima and millions of other Maximas out there by creating, those opportunities to bring them to life. Now, Maxima is one, but there are many others that are also supported by Rotary. These may be the guys you see on the streets, the cottage entrepreneurs. Not everybody will be like Maxima to be able to go to Dubai. What do we do for the cottage entrepreneurs? What do we do for the young school dropouts? What do we do for many others out there that also believe they have an idea? Now, when you begin to look at the solutions, it becomes clear that there's no way we will do this by creating work, through the jobs in how we're doing it. Over 600,000 graduates annually, we create over about 10,000 jobs. The government has been keen on industrialization, but not all of us young people are going to go and work in a factory that has been created somewhere. They have ideas, they have aspirations, but how do we sustainably do that in terms of considering all the resource constraints that we have? That is the question that keeps us awake. And just to put it out there, I like to share this in all the conversations that I have, that as we seek to do this, hope is not a strategy. So I looked out for the definitions of hope from the dictionary, and it's, a feeling of expectation, desire for a particular thing to happen, meaning we want it to happen and we hope it can happen. But unfortunately, hoping it happens is not going to be the way we achieve to unlock the potential of the young people that we have. So we need to begin taking bold strategic movements to unlock and tap into this potential that the young people have. And I think for me, putting myself in the shoes of a young entrepreneur like Samantha, it's happening elsewhere. Africa is a $2 billion market for technology entrepreneurship. You have a SoftBank in making its first African investment in Nigeria by investing $400 million in a company that's less than 5 years old. You have another company in Nigeria called Paystack that was acquired by Stripe for $200 million. Its company is about 5 years old. You have another company called Flutterwave that's now in Uganda that has raised $170 million at Series D. You have our own, Ham, who's built Cheaper Cash in less than 4 years, going on to raise a total of about $150 million. And it's a unicorn valued at $1 billion. But Ham, on a recent conversation, I think with Robert, said this is something he could never achieve in Uganda, So entrepreneurs and young people in Uganda that are trying to build, solutions are not best placed to compete here to be able to achieve the aspirations. So the question then becomes, do we all have to leave Uganda if we want to be a successful entrepreneur? But how do we then build this environment of ours to sustainably unlock that potential that we all know we have? Now, what we've seen and why we started the Innovation Village is that there are a series of challenges we face. Policy, big problem. Private sector, the big corporates have not matched up to their sustainable way to work with youth. They'll go for CSR, where we give out a jerry can or whatever it is, versus understanding what is a shared value approach that we need to take. Access to market, corporate venturing, a big problem for an entrepreneur who has, an idea. We have so many entrepreneurs who have solutions that are being used out of here, but cannot be used by our own, local ecosystem. That technical talent, to build and grow companies is lacking. We've always had conversations with academia, and there's a mismatch between the skills coming out of university and the skills on the other side. A big component that I didn't know I would struggle with is also the business and entrepreneurship mindset, where we're looking at government, for government at Tuyambe, where we're looking at donor aid and misappropriating its actual contribution in building a sustainable ecosystem. So there are a series of challenges we face as we begin to think about sustainable approaches, to support young people. Now, a critical challenge is that a lot of the solutions are tackling only one of the challenges. So you'll find that someone is doing skilling, but if you only skill and you don't support access to sustainable finance, then why did you skill me in the first place? Young people are now beginning to complain that they have been over-mentored and they would want, now the capital to start businesses. But when you go into the capital space, you begin to understand that capital has very many faces, and we need that sustainable capital that is risk capital that can support the entrepreneurs and young people at different stages of growth. So you find that a lot of our initiatives, Emyoga, Youth Venture Capital Fund, name whatever initiative, is unfortunately only looking at one of the ecosystem of challenges. And by solving one, the reason young people don't succeed is because you ignored the other. You gave them access to finance, through a bank, Youth Venture Capital Fund, but you didn't help them get access to the market they need for what they are producing. So the approach that we are now beginning to pursue out there is, how do we, ensure that we are deploying a multiple, pack of solutions in an ecosystem to support young people with the aspirations that they have and the businesses they are trying to build. And as we do that, how do we ensure that environment, to help that and their venture. So the question remains, we achieve sustainable economic empowerment youth. Like I said earlier, hope is a strategy that's going wrong. The statistics are right out there. MS is a big percentage. They're in the informal sector. 10% started a business by 2014. 10% of them are in rates. So appeal and comfort is.
Sorry, we seem to have lost our guest speaker, of course, due to network connection. But I'm sure, like the white people say, he will be back in a short while. But what inspirational nuggets of transformation, nuggets of truth about youth economic empowerment that he's sharing with us today. And I know that we have so many interventions around our youth today, of course, through our Rotary Vijana Power program. And again, when we talk about empowerment, I believe that empowering the youth is the right place to start. Why? Because first and foremost, these are the future of not only Uganda, but of our globe on which we live. But more than that, they hold the biggest portfolio of our population in Uganda. So rightly empowering the youth, I think, is a very big and right place to start when we talk about empowerment of our communities. And our youth are everywhere. Even in our communities, even in our rural areas, we have our youth. So it's good that we have, again, young people like CK here championing the empowerment of fellow youth. And it is really a great space that we need to tap into as Rotarians and see how best we can cause transformation. I just want to check in to see whether CK, you are back.
He's back.
He's back. So CK, good to have you back. Please carry us forward.
That was the former president of Uganda.
CK, are you back? Okay, I see he's back in the room. Probably he's trying to find a better spot and a better connection to carry us forward. CK, are you back? Okay, maybe as we wait for CK to settle in, I will just take an opportunity to invite you, our AG, Dr. James Onyoin. I'm sure that this could spur an interaction. This could spur a discussion about empowerment of our youths. Like I did say, who are the future of our country. So AG, you could do moderate an interaction session, friends. It don't always to have about questions or whatever, but I know we all have experiences and we have insights into this as we wait to welcome back CK. Dr. James.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. President, and I'm happy to be here with you in this space, and greetings to you from Bokedia.
Corre, bañate, carajo, lee un libro.
Haven't we been hijacked, Mr. President?
No, all is well, just proceed.
Okay. So I was saying that the issue of youth empowerment is a very serious matter. And as Rotary, we really need to do something about youth empowerment, because however good the house you are building might be, however nice your home is, however tall your wall is, if the people next to you are sleeping hungry without.
AG, you seem to be muted. Please unmute yourself.
Yes, I was saying that as we try to develop ourselves, you need to know that for us to really thrive and to do well, the people who are next to us in the suburbs, in the neighborhoods, have something to eat and have some life. And we need to address this issue, because the youth, if they are not empowered, if we don't...
Sí, de Drogba, Yaya Touré, todos ellos.
If you do not create the opportunities, for the youth, then we're really endangered. So I want to say that if you have any comments, you can bring them, so that when the speaker comes, we are able to direct the questions to the speaker. So if you have any questions, you can please post them on the chat room, so that we can pick them up and direct them to the speaker when it's up. I see a hand by CPA President of CPA Frederick Chibedi. If you can shoot your question, I'll take note of it and pass it to the speaker.
Thank you so much, moderator and our AG. My question and something that keeps me wondering these days is whether the school system is still relevant to the empowerment of our people, because the school system is built on memorizing things, and now all those things have been memorized by the internet. So I think at the moment somebody is able to read and write, I think we should go right into skilling and creating an environment where people are able to thrive and be able to create something for themselves. That's what I really think. I think that the school system has been challenged, and that going through memorizing.
Negros hijos de puta, porque chucha botan a Sebastián Torres, su clase es una mierda, güey, negros cagones.
I hope that's not the form.
Oh dear, I think there is a hacker in the midst. Okay.
I see CK is back. Maybe to check in, he could wind down his submission and maybe take in the interactions, questions and comments. CK, are you back?
Yes, I'm back. I apologize for the break. I absolutely have no idea what happened. But
Ay, negro tarado, ya no me dejes entrar, pues imbécil. ¡Bótame!
yeah, I think the host can mute. Yeah, but anyway, I think just to bring this to a close, and I had the question that had begun to come in. We need to explore how to sustainably build the ecosystem where young people operate and entrepreneurs operate. For example, and Rotary is the best example of this in terms of collaboration. There is need to emphasize that collaboration that you're already doing, but then we need to quickly go ahead and say, answer tough questions about how that collaboration is sustainable. That if we are supporting a project, how do we ensure this project is going to be here beyond the initial support that we give? I think something else that comes to mind is the importance of shared value, not CSR. And this is a call to big private sector multinationals to look beyond that kind act and look at how we can get more involved in community building. And then of course, let's talk more execution with focus on practical ways that can go on ahead to build that sustainable ecosystem that entrepreneurs need. And to bring it to a close, just to share what we're trying to do at the Innovation Village. The last time I was here, a lot of what we wanted to do were dreams and aspirations. Luckily, we partnered with local, of course, international and global partners, but our anchor partner is MasterCard Foundation, that is en route to create 3 million jobs in Uganda and 30 million jobs across Africa in the next decade. And we do 3 things around advocating for entrepreneurship and creating platforms that can support entrepreneurs. And then we go on ahead to build entrepreneurs. We have now, like you had, hubs in Gulu, in Jinja, in Barara, in Tinda, and in Bukolobi, where every day we work with about 500 entrepreneurs to support them in terms of what they're building. But then we complete our ecosystem by going on to invest. So we invest in entrepreneurs who are keen to solve problems that our communities have. And of course, I'm thankful to Rotary's partnership. We've partnered with Rotary Women and other wings of Rotary to skill young people in the practical vocational skill sets and to enable them also access market for the things that they are making. As I wind up, I just like to leave a quote that helps me understand the importance and intensity for why we need to look for sustainable youth empowerment approaches. And we all know the proverb that says, it takes a village to raise a child. And as much as we say that, the part that's not said about that is that if that child is not invited into the village, they will burn down the village just to feel the warmth. So, and that's information that people now say, use that information as you see fit. But I'm excited about the entrepreneurs that we see in the country, whether it is Smenta who's in Dubai trying to build out a dream that they have, whether it is that cottage entrepreneur in Jinja or in Barara or in Gulu, the farmer. And we are here to explore sustainable approaches, to collaborate, work with them, to bring the ideas that they have to life. Because of time, I'd like to stop here and we can get into some questions. Once again, I apologize for the break in presentation. I'm sorry I couldn't share the rest of the slides because of the technology, but I'm happy we can take the conversation beyond this. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you very much, CK. you will share the slides and we'll be able to pass them over to the comrades. But more than that, I'm sure that Rotarians on this call and all our guests are interested in an interaction session on this very critical subject. And with no further delay, I want to invite you, Dr. James. As you had rightly started, I know you already have some questions and comments on your jot down list to carry us forward into this interaction session. AG James, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Yeah, we already had one question from PAG, Frederick Kibedi. And CK, I would want to bring this question to you. He asked that the current school system seems to be totally out of date. It is to do with the memorizing verses and things and, you know. So he was just wondering, is it still relevant and what can be done to make sure that our education system supports what we want to do to empower the youth? So that's the first question. The second question is from Mike Kennedy Sevalu, our district governor-elect for our district 9213. His hand is up, so I'll ask him to just go straight away and shoot that question. Honorable Sevalu, over to you.
Thank you very much, our very able moderator, Onyoin. And thank you very much, CK. That is a very good engagement you are bringing to us this morning as we begin this month of economic empowerment. Now, as a country, we are acclaimed for being very entrepreneurial, but in the same vein, we are rated highly at failure rate of enterprises meeting their first birthday or thereabout. So what is it that we are not doing right to account for that high failure, which then undermines our entrepreneurial spirit? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Maybe you can first take those two questions, CK.
Thank you very much for the questions, and they are a representation of key urgent issues we need to be solving to support young people. And of course, to begin with, the education system, is it still relevant? I think that question has been answered by COVID. The education system was never relevant in the first place, and for as long as I can remember, we've always been questioning the education system, and for as long as I can remember, there are calls to review the education system, but somehow something doesn't get done. And for me, that's where typical entrepreneurs come in to look at what we call sticky problems. So some of the entrepreneurs that we have that are building for EdTech have already begun creating alternative pathways for that can complement the typical education system. Some of them have gone on to invest or build platforms for early childhood education. Others have gone on to digitize the existing curriculum, and by digitizing it, presenting it in new interactive ways that young people can interact with it. And we've also seen what other countries have done. For example, in Egypt, they no longer look at it as vocational education; they look at it as applied technology. Because if you're in that line of education, you don't need to get out of that and begin looking for a job. You get out of that system and begin to apply what you've learned. At the village, we've also done some work in terms of opening up a STEM cafe, a science cafe, for kids ages between 5 to 18. So kids, young people and teenagers who come to that space have about 14 different workflows that enable them begin to develop new skills of agility, creativity, technology skills, and problem-solving skills, especially. So you're right about the education system, but this is one of the things that we need to start, stop talking about and start acting acting on the claimed nature of, we claim to be the entrepreneurs across the best entrepreneurs across the globe, and yet our entrepreneurs again gone to die in their first year of operation. A lot of that is the foundation of what and how we're building the village, because an entrepreneur is like a seed. Livara, Cementa is like a seed. Now, if this seed is not, just like the Bible said that some of the seeds fell on the rock, some of the seeds fell by the roadway, and some of the seeds fell on the fertile ground. So our environment where an entrepreneur is currently existing is like the roadside, but is also like the rock. It's not conducive enough for someone who wants to start, who wants to build a company. So the question is, how do we ensure that this ecosystem is the fertile ground? So the question, part of the answers are, can we ensure that there's a policy environment that protects young companies that are coming up, whether it's tax, around tax? Can we ensure that policy can extend to incentivize multinationals that might work with these young people? Can we ensure that there's access to the appropriate capital that is risk, capital at the stages of growth? Can we ensure we're supporting them with access to market? That fertile soil is what we need to create, such that we can achieve the aspirations that all of these entrepreneurs have to build businesses that are solving problems in our country. Thank you.
Dr. AG, you are muted.
Sorry. Thank you very much, CK. Let's take another 3 questions. The first one is from Richard Kalunji. Rotarian Richard says, it is on the chat, selfishness and big players not being keen on collaboration are the biggest challenges facing Ugandan entrepreneurs. How do we achieve intentional partnerships and support for struggling entrepreneurs? Let me repeat, from Richard Kalunji, selfishness and big players not being keen on collaboration are the biggest challenges facing Ugandan entrepreneurs. How do we achieve intentional partnerships and support for struggling entrepreneurs? That is from Dr. Richard Kalunji. The next question, CK, is from Anne Musoke. She says, I have encountered youth who are from the university but have no idea on what they can do. You offer capital additional training and so on, but they are simply not motivated with their own ideas to do things or pick an idea of self-employment. What more can one do? I think Anne is frustrated there. I've encountered youth who are from the university but have no idea on what they can do. You offer them capital, additional training, and so forth, but they are simply not motivated with their own ideas to do things or even pick any area of self-employment. What more can one do? That's a frustration from Anne. Maybe you can address that. The third question I can see is thanks, CK. Most of them, of course, are just thanks, which I'm very happy. Wouldn't it be good to rather tailor innovations in country key priority sectors like agriculture and tourism to help absorb more youth in production, value chain, and create more jobs. This is from David Sempala from Acacia, my friend David. He's saying, wouldn't it be good to rather tailor innovations in the country to key priority sectors like agriculture and tourism to help absorb more youth in production value chain and create more jobs? That's a question from David Sempala. I think you first take those three, then I will go for the hand which has been up for a long time from Nulu Machitende of Muyenga. First take those CK.
Right. Thank you, James. Very interesting questions, especially about. I'll begin with the selfishness from big players and how it frustrates entrepreneurs. I think I've learned a lot from this question, and it's whether it is selfishness or is it sometimes, yes, I cannot argue against that, but I think for me, as my role as an entrepreneur is to find solutions to problems. So, is it a question of selfishness? Yes, but is it also a question of not honestly having an idea about alternative pathways that can still contribute to the same problem? A lot also because a lot of the things that we need to be done are being done for the first time. So I do not know any person who can stand up and say they have been in our technology industry for the last 10 years. It's a new industry coming up. So a lot of the big players have also not necessarily been doing this for a long time. So for anyone who is involved in dealing with big players, I think we cannot underestimate the role of education, awareness, and partnerships that can help us, deal with the big players. And that's how we are, supporting entrepreneurs in a way that's sustainable. For example, if I want to achieve, to reach 1,000 young people and support them to achieve their aspirations, I can decide to do it alone, or I can decide to work with the Rotary women. When we work with the Rotary women, we were able to reach 1,000 in a week. So I'd rather we focus on what are the alternative pathways to begin solving for the challenges that we have. Partnerships are critical, collaboration is critical, and not underestimating the work we need to do to educate, to create awareness, and to demonstrate success and evidence of what we can actually, deliver. And then young people not motivated and have no idea in what they're doing. It's a real challenge because young people now think that I can get rich quick. It's a matter of doing. Coming up with an idea, and tomorrow I've raised X amount. And so there's that get rich quick, there's that attitude of government at Yambe, there's that attitude of, things coming easily. And it's been validated by existing systems and the way of life that we have. What has worked for us is to be, open-minded about not pushing what we want to the young people, but creating a platform that can begin to challenge them with what they want or what they can do. I'll give you an example. When we started the expansion out of Kampala, we went to Gulu. And when we reached Gulu, we're at a technology hub. We tell people to build solutions using technology. But when we reached Gulu, we found the young people there were interested in breakdancing, and that's what they wanted to do, So the question then becomes, do you push them to force them to do what you want them to do, build a business using technology, or do you help them understand how to turn that into, because it's a creative business. It's working in other countries. How do you work with them with the little interest and the little idea they have to begin growing it, from where it is? So that's how we ended up building what we're calling our Creative Business Academy. And the Creative Business Academy is now turning that creative entrepreneur into a business person. So it's a difficult question. I can't say I have the direct answer, but I think for me, what has worked is, can we design around where they are, what they want to do? And the simple answer normally is ask them, find out what they love, find out what they think, find out where they are, and begin from there to begin working upwards. And of course, yes, it's critical for us to tailor innovation in the country to create priority sectors. That's exactly what we're doing in what we call our Future Lab, where we work with across 10 sectors and bring innovators across those sectors to build new solutions for problems within those sectors. We've done it for agriculture, we've done it for energy, we've done it for media and other industries. But as we build for these sectors, it's really important that we have a growth mindset and we have a reach beyond just Uganda. For example, the Africa Free Continental Trade Area has made Africa the destination. You have market beyond just Uganda. So whereas it's good for us to tailor in country, sustainable scale is going to come from us building for Africa and not just for Uganda. And that's where the opportunity also is to market, Uganda as the most entrepreneurial country that we all know we are. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, CK. Now, Mr. President, I'm just giving the last set of questions and then we'll be gone from here. CK, there's a question from, just a minute, there's a chat from, let me just get it. There's a chat from Anne. Let me just get it. Okay, there's a chat question from Doug Daniel. Thank you, CK. How can one access funding and the incubation centers like the ones you have? How can one access funding and the incubation centers like the one you have? I think this person wants to come to the Innovation Village Center.
Yeah,
that's done. So the next one is just a comment, but it's a very long comment, but I'll summarize what the gist of the issue is. The gist is that the youth currently have gotten used to these bags that our leaders go around with and give cash, and they have got so used to that free, what do we call it, quick wealth and riches. They form into a small circle and put their bag and wait for money from leaders to give them. So that, I think, has killed innovation and the determination to work. How can we handle this situation? I think it is becoming serious. That's what Augustine Caesar is saying. The other one, actually, I'm told that most of these government programs, people think it is a thank you package for the last election. So I don't know how you are tackling this issue. It seems to be a big problem according to Caesar. And we're going to take the last question now from Nulu, whose hand has been up for long. My friend Nulu Nachitende, can you shoot your question and then CK will answer and we close with that, Mr. President.
Yes, thank you very much, James. Thank you, CK. That was very nice of you pointing out that the youths are skilled, but then they're not given the materials to do their skills. Do you think there is hope for the youth if they form groups according to their fields of study? Can you get funding for them if they are formed into groups at the village? Thank you.
Thank you. Over to you, CK. And over to you, President.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm seeing another comment by Richard about bad politics and the funding that you mentioned that is seen as a thank you, from the last election. I think for me, that's what I call, and I'll link the two questions on funding together. But that's what I call, bad money in the ecosystem, because a typical entrepreneur doesn't need free money. You don't need that. It sounds good, but it's not sustainable, because you need capital at the different stages of your growth. So if you get that free money, yes, it will get you started, but it won't get you building, the fundamentals of a successful business that's speaking to the market, that's speaking to growth, that's speaking to, efficiency. And what we see now happening is the more bad money that we have in our ecosystem, the more it crowds out the actual capital that an entrepreneur needs. So you find an investor who's hungry to invest in a company, but the company is used to getting a lot of handouts, so they are not ready for that type of capital. So they cannot fit into the criteria it takes to qualify for that capital that is available. So yes, it's a big challenge, and we need to begin exploring and educating, like I said, through awareness. What are the different types of capital that an entrepreneur or a young person needs to sustainably build a business? And what is the impact of all of this free money and bad money to actually killing the entire funding ecosystem? Now, on funding, I also keep in mind whenever I'm talking about funding, which is a whole big topic, that getting funding is not an achievement. It is rather an obligation. When someone gives you his money, they expect a return. They expect you to grow that company. So access to funding, we have built a fund that we call the 97 Fund that has so far invested in about 15 entrepreneurs. Access to finance, you need to first understand what type of capital you need and what it is for. If you're an entrepreneur, early stage technology entrepreneur, you have no business speaking to a bank, because typically banks don't finance, startups. So you need to understand what type of capital you need for the stage you're at, and begin to position yourself to be ready for that type of investment. Our incubators, thanks to the partners we work with, are now across the country. So in Gulu, you can walk into a space that we've created in Jinja, in Barara, in Kampala we have Motive and the Village. And the mandate of each of these is in Gulu, don't just work in Gulu, but look at it as a launchpad to go further beyond into the northern region. In Barara, go further into the western region. So we're always happy to pick up conversations about how we can work with you, even if we're not where in the town where you are. And we've built a virtual platform, of course, because of COVID, called My Village, where we can connect with any entrepreneur anywhere you are in the country and across the world. So you can also sign up on that. And the last question about forming groups, that's a good direction. We also support it, and it's how we're working at the village now. We call it the boot camps and cohort models. So if there are groups that that are keen to start something, please link us to them, and we explore how to support them. And like I said, our approach to partnership with groups is an ecosystem. So we support access to financing, market access, policy support and environment, and also building your ideas to become sustainable businesses, and not a business that's just looking to from support to support. So in the interest of time, I'd like to stop here. Thank you very much for allowing me to come back here to share what we're passionate about. I believe that the only competitive advantage for us as a country is going to be through creating sustainable platforms to support our young people. And as the month of independence, my challenge to each and everybody listening is that, that's the single way you can contribute and give back to your country. If you're lucky enough to be doing it through a very organized and the world's best platform like Rotary, my challenge to you is, how do we do this in a way that's sustainable? All the support that we channel out, how can we quickly ask, how does this become sustainable to the people we are supporting? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, CK. And before we can proceed, our time is indeed fast spent. I want to request you, Sergeant, if we can borrow only 5 minutes to enable us bring this down to a close. But I would like to invite you, IPP Jameson Karimani, to please do that which you're always very good at. IPP Jameson Karimani, over to you.
Thank you very much, CMP Frederick. Good morning to you all. On behalf of Kampala Daybreak, and indeed on behalf of all the people who have been listening in, I would like to take this opportunity to appreciate you, Japheth Kawanguzi, for agreeing to share with us your knowledge, for steering the discussion this morning, and of course, thank you very much for the work that you are doing for the youth in this country. We want to appreciate you so much, and we only pray that God blesses you and you continue to uplift our youth in this country. As a token of appreciation, allow us to present you a certificate of appreciation, which I'm going to read. This certificate is proudly presented to you, Mr. Japheth Kawanguzi, in appreciation and recognition for sharing your knowledge and experience during sustainable economic empowerment for the youth. We want to thank you very much and want you to accept that appreciation, and we wish you all the best in the service that you are doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, my president. CK, I hope you receive our sincere appreciation.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So, well, indeed, we have Rotary, we are very intentional about the youth, and I'm sure we will definitely have you again at an appropriate time, because we are really, really very intentional about the youth. Sergeant at Arms, I would like to request that if you can use a minute or so to give us the roll call of clubs. Sergeant at Arms, give us the statistics.
Thank you, President. Am I audible?
Loud and clear, go right ahead.
Yes, President, we have been blessed with 171 participants, 48 Rotary clubs, 5 Rotaract clubs, and 2 registered guests. And our guests are as follows: Madame Marion Onyoy and Madame Ogwal. These are our usual guests. Now, going to Rotary clubs present, I'll start with RC Boyogere Nambole, RC Entebbe, RC Nansana, Bukoto, Kampala South, Muyenga, Kampala Alibad, Namasuba, Wakiso, Sonde, Kiwatule, Sunrise, Webaja, Natete, Makindye, Kampala Morning Stars, E-Club, Uganda Global, Garuga, Kampala Sese, Mengo, Ntinda, Buloba, Maisha, Nigeria, Mukona Central, Rubaga Lakeview, Kansanga, Kibuli, Kampala Palms, Kampala Metropolitan, Ntinda Metro, Inner Wheel Kampala, Makindye West, Kisasi Chanja, Nsambya, Garuga, Bugiri, Kesha Sunset, Kengera, Nsanji, Kampala, Lira, Buyogere Central, Wobulenzi, Kampala East, Kololo, Kasangati, and Kampala Mpala. Clubs of the day
her Sunday and sunrise on account of attendance in numbers. The Rotary clubs present as follows: Kawempe, Chambogo University, The Hard, MUBS Nakawa, Mulago School of Nursing and Midwifery, and Mbarara Ranchers. Present, back to you.
Thank you very much, Sergeant at Arms. But more than that, I want to appreciate each and every single one of you that have joined us this morning. But special thanks to you, our Rotary leaders in the house, DGE Mike Kennedy Sebaru. But also thank you very much, our international partners led by our own DGE Francisco Semwanga, VCC, Jaja Mzungus, and so many of you from all the Rotary clubs in District 9214. We are always overjoyed to have you. And to our own PDGFX, thank you so much for always being with us. It is always a great joy. Past Assistant Governors, we are greatly honored. Changemaker AGs led by our own Dean of AGs, Kaitarama, thank you very much. And to you, my comrades and my colleagues, Changemaker Presidents, wow, I don't know how I will ever repay all that numerous visits, having over 20 of you led by our own POP, Kate Baraza. Thank you very much for coming. And to you, daybreakers, wow, 91% attendance is great. So as I begin to wind up, allow me invite Rotarian Elizabeth to please give us the final toast to mark the end of our fellowship. Rotarian Elizabeth, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. President. As we end our fellowship this morning, may I request us all to stand up, straighten our jackets, ties, and skirts. Let us lift up our beverage cups in honor of this thought-provoking session that we had this morning on youth empowerment, courtesy of Mr. Japeth Kawanguzi. Let us toast to Rotary International.
Rotary is all.
Rotary,
the
world.
Thank you very much, friends. Please, may God bless you and make you a blessing. Daybreakers, board members, today at exactly 8, our meeting with our partners. Thank you and bye-bye.
Thank you, President, for chairing such a wonderful session.
Always
Be
an
blessed
honor.
as well. Okay.
Always an honor.